So, questions from people. Anything I can help? Julie says, the emotional connection has hit home during this convo. My son is 9 and ridiculously determined and doesn't give a flying fuck what people think of him. And my daughter is incredibly fun and creative. I'm thinking I'm going to pull them in for part of my alter ego. And Julie, who created those two children? You. So you are a direct source of that. So they are simply mirrored reflections of something that's already existing inside of you. So that sounds outstanding. Nick, yes, for sure, Todd. We're walking around as the alter ego that may have developed in reaction to the junk we've experienced or seen in life, for sure. Exactly. What we think our identity is itself an alter ego, 100%. Michael, the last 5 minutes have been the most clarifying, or is it electrifying, of the past 3 weeks? Thanks. Great. I really love this way of looking at it. Totally flips the way I think about my alter ego. Getting excited to unleash my alter ego. I like the playing. Todd, how do you not get delusional about your skills with your alter ego? You might really need to have a different set of skills to play on the next level. You might, 100%. But how are you going to get there without bringing your best to the situation? Okay. So again, also, when answering the question of skills or knowledge, this is where I kind of walk a bit of a conservative tightrope with it, where I'm not going to overpromise anything. But I told, there's 2 specific stories in the book where I unpacked one of Rowan Atkinson, right? The famous actor who plays the character Mr. Bean, amongst many other actors that he's played in his career. But so here's a person who has a stuttering issue. So he stutters. That is a physical experience. Or is it? Because the moment he starts to play a character, he stops stuttering. So how is that possible? So is stuttering a mental issue? Or is it, so the moment he starts playing a character, that normal identity that is limited by stuttering no longer exists, goes away. I talk about a client of mine, a young teenager back in Canada. This goes back, 14, 15, 16 years, where in Canada, hockey is a religion there. It's like, soccer or football in Brazil. It's by far and away the national sport in Canada. Tons of the best athletes get sucked into the sport. It's an expensive sport to play. And here, my client, quick little skater, but he wasn't fast. So he was quick, accelerated quickly, but he wasn't fast. Why? Because he was bow-legged. And so when he was bow-legged, he made a lot of choppy little steps when he skated. But fast skaters, when they're pushing out to the side, they're snapping their leg, right? So they're snapping their leg to full extension. And that's what ends up driving speed. Whereas a bow-legged skater is going to go choppy steps. Okay. So they're not snapping and elongating, right? Anyone know what the sound of the whip is on a bullwhip? That snapping sound. Anyone know what that comes from? Me, as a kid who grew up on, exactly. It's the sound of the end of the whip breaking the sound barrier. That's what that is. As someone who snapped himself in the lip with a bullwhip, I know it's full force. So, but why is that? It's because it's elongating out to the very end and snapping. And so that's speed. It's the same as, in boxing, as someone who boxed and kickboxed, it's most people punch to the target. What you should be doing is punching through the target, because the force doesn't come from the arm. The force comes from the body driving through the punch. Okay. So I'm trying to elongate through. My point about this was he was bow-legged. The moment, and his dad had spent thousands upon thousands of dollars sending him to what are called power skating camps in order to try and change his skating style. Wasn't working, because he was a very talented and skilled player. Spent a lot of time on his sport. You built an alter ego. The alter ego, and I didn't even expressly do this, he did it. But when he started playing through this other identity, he was no longer bow-legged. He skated, with a full extension of his leg. I explained that to me. Why I say this is because to go back to your question, Mikhail, around skills. I don't want to place a limit on the power of what can happen with this stuff. Skills can sometimes show up that were dormant that you didn't realize that were there. Now, I'm not saying that all of a sudden that you have this matrix type download into your mind and now you know how to do, complete reconstructive surgery on someone, or that you're like Frank Abagnale, in the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, where he acts as if he is the pilot or the doctor or all that. That's not what this is about. But also, this is that whole attitude of expectation that we talked about in the first mission here, around you expect to be surprised by what you can do. That's my approach. I can't wait to see how I show up and what shows up for me, because I'm going to be surprised. Not because I doubt myself, but because I have no idea. I like approaching it from that approach. I have no idea just what I'm capable of. My job is to simply bring my absolute best to it and then sit back and watch to see what unfolds. And again, when you kind of unpack the way that I said that, it's almost acting as if you're this observer of a third person. The other reason why I said it the way that I said it, as someone who is trying to get all of you into a zone and flow state, which is ultimately the purpose of this. The purpose of this isn't to have an alter ego. The purpose of this is to find out what you're made of, and not standing on the sidelines thinking about what you're made of, but to find out what you're actually made of. Okay? Well, the experience of someone who's in a zone and flow state is of someone that feels like they are now an observer of themselves. It's an out of body experience. Okay. And, by communicating it the way that I did to you, it's to start to maybe build a vocabulary inside of your mindset of the way that is of a way of thinking that's a lot more empowering and allows you to truly find and tap into this amazing place of flow and zone. So I can't wait to be surprised. Imagine, just imagine for a second if that's actually how you approached your day. Like, for those of you with kids, because again, we as human beings, we have a tendency to want more for others than we want for ourselves. Imagine if your son or daughter, or your mom or your dad, or your favorite best friend or whatever, was waking up and they woke up thinking, I can't wait to see how the day is going to surprise me by being amazing. So for you, like, imagine waking up and thinking that, like, I can't wait to be surprised by how the day is going to unfold. Well, the only way to actually experience that is to probably get out of your home and go do something. The other way to make it even more likely is to put yourself in more and more situations that stretch your current sense of self, that comfort zone that you sit inside of. The only way to make that happen is in interaction with, the creative process or other people and other things. Because sitting inside of a vacuum of your own world, it's really hard to surprise yourself that way. So it's always at the meeting point of you and the field of play. That's the moment of impact. And that is where surprise can happen. And then it's, okay, now do you have the trust in your ability to respond and handle whatever gets thrown your way? And so what most people do is they go, yeah, but I don't have the skill yet of responding to that person who says no to my offer. Yeah, but the seed of developing that ability lies in the no, because you're going to respond, and you could respond with, oh, okay, well, that's fine, thank you so much. Or you could respond with and try another, question for them. So, is there anything that I could put in front of you that would make this a hell yes? Not even a yes, but a hell yes for you right now. And again, that would be you being so and if you didn't say that, that's because you're so concerned with saying the word hell, or that's you being concerned with putting that person on the spot. And again, my paradigm that I don't live through is, my job isn't to make your decision for you. My wife, and I'm not throwing Valerie under the bus on this, but she categorizes herself as an introvert, and so when she reaches out, she even like sending text messages to her friends, and these are her friends, these are our friends, and inviting her over for a drink. Now, this isn't her current reality, this was a past reality, that's why I can talk about it. She's not this way anymore, but she would get so caught up in her own head of, isn't the right time, it's too early in the morning, oh, they're at work right now, I don't want to bother them when they're at work, oh, well, they're going home and they should probably spend some time with their kids, they don't need to, like, that's all stuff. For you guys, I go into our CRM every Friday, and I just go through and just call people. Now, if you're on the Pacific Coast and it's 8 a.m. out here or 9 a.m., I never think, oh my God, it's really early where they are. I never think that way. Why? Because everyone can live their life their own way. Some people get up super early in the morning. Some people stay up really, really late. I'm not concerned about whether someone's going to go, it's too early. That's not my response. I'm not here to live your life for you. That's your decision if you've left your phone on and it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay? I literally just don't think that way. So I'm not here to make other people's decisions in their life. My job is to give them the opportunity to expand. And I think that having a conversation with me on the phone about our products and services, where I'm following up with all of our customers and clients. Hey, how's it going? What's been your experience so far? Oh, you haven't even logged in yet. Well, what's going on? How can I help you to get logged in so that you can actually get value from the thing that you've just purchased, right? Creates great opportunities for me to learn from people, right? Same thing with like sending out a text message to a friend at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday saying, hey, we're going to be going to the New Jersey County Fair this afternoon or this morning at 11 o'clock. Do you guys want to come and join us? If they're sleeping and it wakes them up, that's on them. That's not on me. I'm not concerned about that. It's like, I got so many millions of other things that I can be, rattling around in my head, that concerned about how you're using your technology isn't something I'm going to concern myself with. Again, that's my paradigm. Works just fine. So, and I think you all have enough other things to be concerned about than worrying about what other people are going to, say back to you. So my point is hell yes or yes, because the hell yes is a very different way of asking the question to someone. What can I do to help make this a hell yes for you? And then shut the hell up and let them answer. So, anyways, gang, that's a little extra that we've added to the end here. Point about today, just to go in and recap what we've covered. If I just share back the slides again. Is what we covered today is we identified what you want your extraordinary world to look like. And again, I'm saying it in the past tense as if you've already done it today. But again, if you haven't, go back and just define it. Painted a detailed picture of what it looks like, feels like to live in that extraordinary world, how your alter ego act, behave, think, and speak and perform on your chosen field of play. Help to define that mission. Again, I talked about a helpful way of thinking about it is just like with Bo Jackson, if you can define it down with just a simple sentence of, like he said, my mission is to destroy anything that got in my path with no emotion whatsoever, right? So for yours is, my mission when I step into that sales role in my business is to deliver extreme clarity with conviction of what we have to offer with no concern about rejection or no, or whatever that other person might be, again, what is that for you? Because that becomes the anchoring point of why you're showing up the way you're showing up as well. Get crystal clear about the mission, what you're fighting for, like I said. Identified your superpowers, created a description of your superpowers, and then named the alter ego. And again, we're left with, by the end of this masterclass, 2 little boxes that are left. And now you have this canvas as a starting place, right? This isn't the finishing place. This is the starting place. We're not unpacking the most perfect alter ego of all time, because at the end of the day, they evolve, they change, just like you do, just like I do. Okay. So missions, quests, and adventures, we've got all those missions right there. And I said as a bonus quest earlier to be a fly on the wall, and maybe trying out that one as well. Okay, gang. Juliana, wow, this is wild. Here I am feeling uncomfortable hitting send on my MailChimp every week. What if they don't want to read my email? Oh my God, isn't that silly? Look, when you think about it, isn't it silly that we're even concerned ourselves with it? There's a great video from Carl Sagan called The Pale Blue Dot. Carl Sagan, one of the great scientists of the 20th century, and he has this video where he's talking about the pale blue dot, which is Earth. Now you're going to watch it and your takeaway is going to be different than mine. But I think of this as if all of us, me included, I'm a speck of dust. I'm meaningless. In the grand scope of the universe, I'm meaningless. Like it doesn't, on the time spectrum for how long it has been and how long it will continue on to be, the 80 years, 100 years, whatever years I'm given here, it's truly meaningless in the grand scheme. So why should I get so caught up in all of these like little, trips, these little bumps in the road, these things, the strings that the enemy wants to use to pull me into the shadow, when, truly it's meaningless. And for me, because everyone wants to build up so much, power and meaning with their life, that they want to get it so perfect then. And then that ends up stopping them, because I only get this one chance. Here's what I know. You don't get this one chance. You get many, many chances. Especially for the people who keep on getting on the field to play, you get many, many, many chances to make it right, to adjust, to respond, to react. So that's my takeaway. When you pull back the full view on the world, the solar system, the galaxy, the universe, speck of dust. So operating through a speck of dust idea can relinquish a lot of the resistance as well. Mikhail, this is awesome, surprising answer. Todd, you've also answered my other question about connection between alter ego and flow state. And to your minor point, I live in San Francisco and East Coast time. That's great. All right, gang. I'm going to leave you to it. Answer the questions, get that canvas completed, and I will see you in the group, and I'll see you next week as well.